Hey everybody, welcome back to a new episode of Speak Freely. I am, of course, as always, Mr. Freely. I know it's an old bit. I need to come up with a new one. I won't though, so I'm lazy. And I'm here as always with Mr. Speak.
Señor Hablar.
Señor Arblar. I'm David B, and here as always with my good friend Kuno Stars. How are you, my dude?
I'm good. Doing good. How are you?
I'm pretty good, man. It's a chill day. So
is it chill? Because it's freaking hot here in California.
Dude, it's ridiculous. It's hot here too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been like up in the hundreds, but add on top of that, the humidity we get was just making it worse. So it's just avoiding outside at all costs. And I've heard too, California's been like late in like the 90s, high 90s, low 100s and stuff like that.
Yeah, high 90s, low 100s. 3 wildfires around. There's one LA County, one out in Corona, which is like Riverside County, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then one in Azusa, which I know you're familiar with a little bit.
It's fire season.
Yeah.
Was the fire tornado in California? Because I saw like a Twitter, the fire tornado. Dude, the world's ending. Let's all get our affairs in order as we can.
The Fire Nation has started to invade.
Yeah. It was the year 2020 when the Fire Nation attacked. But yeah, it's a chill day though. Regardless, for those of you who don't know, we usually record this Thursday, maybe Friday, but It's a Sunday as we're recording this. So it's like usually Sundays are usually like my couch potato days. So you know what? I'm just gonna get into the topic that we.
Well, quick question. I'm actually a little curious.
Yeah.
It's a Sunday.
Yeah.
Are you going to church?
Yes and no. It's like sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. It depends on the news we get. So like when the peaks were really high, we didn't go, and then when we started seeing them lowering, we went, and then when the peaks got back high up again, we didn't go, and now it's for me personally, it's like usually I don't like going just because I don't trust people like at all, not even my own church. I said it, but But if it gets to the point where I'm getting really antsy and I haven't left to do anything, like not even grocery shopping, I'm just like, fuck it, I'll risk it, whatever. It's just me and home. Who cares? You know what I mean? Yeah. So but the last few weeks we didn't go. Yeah, I'll go to church. F that. I'll go.
But so when you're in church, is it still spaced out, like 6 feet apart?
Yeah, it's the church is very, very strictly only allowing 1/4 of capacity. So they always make sure they count. Everyone has to come in through the same entrance, and they count all the people that come in. And then once they reach their peak, that's it. They literally upturn people back.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so it's just
you gotta get there early. First come, first serve.
Yeah, they're strictly adhering to those rules, and then like every other pew is being used, and then between like it's usually families at church. So between every family unit, there has to be 6 feet of space. So every other pew is completely not usable, and then within the pew, 6 feet of space. And then, yeah, you can't greet people like no one greets you. Like before, people used to shake hands and stuff. Everyone's just kind of like,
peace with you. Yeah.
And you have to wear the mask at all times, in and around the church.
Yeah.
So they've been pretty good about it, I feel like, which is why it's the one church I'll go to. There's been a couple of other churches at the beginning of this that I went to, and I was like, yeah, I'm not coming back here. A little too lax for me, you know what I mean?
Right.
Every church is unfortunately different, and then depending on the particular culture that goes to that church, you know what I mean? Like there's like the Latino church, like the Hispanic church, where it's like primarily like a Mexican Hispanic community, and there's like the Vietnamese church, where it's like mostly Vietnamese people, and like, you know what I mean? Like it's like where we live, like in West Covina.
There's that white church that's mostly like black people for some reason.
Yeah, and then there's that one church that's like it's just Filipinos, and then there's that one church that's like very oddly mixed somehow. Like, yeah, but you know what I mean? It's like
the Nogales High School of churches.
Yeah, exactly. Was Nogales mixed? I don't know, man.
It was.
It was mixed, but there's there were some predominant things or peoples there. You know what I mean?
Sure, but I mean, I think like groups of friends were pretty mixed.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking back, obviously you and me, Ryan, and then it was our group. Our group was pretty mixed for sure. But in terms of like the demographic, wasn't like Nogales like mostly like Latinos and like
Filipinos were pretty dominant there too.
Yeah, and it's like very very few Caucasian white people. Like very,
they were the minority.
They legit were. The only people I can remember there, I was like, "Hey man, what are you?" And they were like, "I'm just white. I don't know what to tell you." It was like one dude in band, and like, one dude and one girl in the marching band, and they were like the only like, besides our teachers, obviously as well, because a lot of our teachers, but like, Gallus was weird, man. And then you compare that to Roland, where it was like very very clearly like that's just Asian, all
Chinese, Korean,
all the Asians went to Roland, and then all
the rest went to
all the brown people went to Nogales.
There's, I think like on my wrestling team, there's maybe like there's one guy who was like pure white. Like there's no denying he's white, right?
Yeah.
And then there's like two other guys like they looked white, they're actually Mexican.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Los güeritos, as we call them. Yeah.
Right.
That's a white looking Mexican. That's all that means. Güerito. Yeah, they got more Spaniard than Indian in them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, looking like at marching band when I was in there the 4 years, it was primarily like Latinos and like Asian, Filipino, and then like a few other Asian, like Chinese. I don't think there was any Koreans in band that I can recall, but it was mostly like brown toned people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the only like we had like one or two white people literally in the whole band. The band was like a group of like, we weren't a big marching band. We were like a group of like 120, I think.
Yeah.
And our most,
you were pretty good marching band, right? You guys competed nationally and stuff?
I mean, depending on the year. My freshman year, that's debatable. Same as my senior year, but like my sophomore and junior year, we were pretty good. They got exceptionally better after I graduated, which I don't think is a coincidence. You know what I mean?
All right, guys. All right, David's gone. Now we can play.
Finally do this. No, but it's just like that. Honestly, like the culture behind that marching group, I could see it. Like I was like, man, this only has the potential to go up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I say, my senior year wasn't that successful, but that's not entirely true. Like we were largely successful my senior year. We had a couple of moments where it was very clear as like we were just. I mean, it is what it is. Growing up in not a poor neighborhood, but you know our neighborhood, man. It was ghetto, and just there's something about that mentality sometimes where you can't push through and really work hard sometimes. Like sometimes you just kind of fall back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially if you're kind of like tired, like I already did it once, I don't have to do it again type of mentality. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it. Just something you kind of
it's like in sports, right? Where like team that won the championship isn't as motivated to like keep playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like it's kind of like because I mean, people are gonna argue with me, but like marching band is very much, I feel like, I mean, if it's really like competitive marching band, like kind of like DCI style, for anybody who knows that, it's very competitive and sports like in terms of like
it's brutal
and like having to make sure that your coordination is great, that you're not only that, like the movement on the field combined with like the articulation and dynamics of playing your instrument while running around on this field. And then it's always during the summer, like, so, and the summers in California, man, are like, it's dry climate, but it's no joke too. It's just pure sunlight hitting you all the time. You know what I mean? Just straight to your veins. But I don't know how we got here. I don't know how to get out.
Anyways, welcome to Speak Freely.
Welcome to Speak Freely, where we talk about everything and anything. But
the weather. That's how we got here.
That's right. The weather's been ass. This is just like marching band. Nah, man. But the weather, man. And I know it's been rough for like here, and I know because I have relatives and stuff, and they call in, and it's been brutal. So yeah, but I mean, luckily, I mean, I've been indoors. I got sweet AC, so
Oh, you have beautiful AC, if I remember.
It's glorious modern AC.
Yeah. When did I visited in? Was it September? I think it was in September.
Yeah, it was September. Yeah,
like right at the end of like summertime.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being like in your house and like needing like 3 blankets because at least you left.
Like, hey, you got a blanket? Yeah. Do you have another? Don't be a bitch, Brian.
Okay, but just another one, please.
just one more. Dude, that reminds me of the story. I have a friend. I'm not gonna say who, but if he's watching this, he's gonna know it's about him. Usually every summer, right? My family takes a family trip. And on one particular summer, we decided to go to Orlando and like do like the theme park thing, like go to Disney World. This was way before COVID, obviously. It was like 3 or 4 years ago, I think, 4 or 5 maybe. And this year they were like, yeah, you can invite whoever you want. So obviously, like the girls invited their dudes, and at the time,
you invited your dude.
I invited my dude, my life partner, if you will. Yeah, I invited one of my good friends. I don't want to say his name just in case he gets embarrassed, but I'm pretty sure he knows it's him. And he's from California, so we go to Orlando. It's the middle of summer. It's like in July, and he's just not used to humidity at all. So the minute that we pick up this guy, because we drove from here, Texas, to Florida, and I think he drove with us actually. And the minute we like got off on Florida, right, we're like, all right, here's our hotel. He just immediately just sweat. Just every pore dripping sweat. He's like breathing heavily. It's like, oh my God. And we're just like, dude, are you okay? He's like, it's really hot, guys. And we're like, and like, for anybody that knows, like Houston, for some reason, in my opinion, at least, Houston humidity during the summer is way worse than Florida humidity during the summer. Because
really,
at least for Florida, you get constant like rain. So there's humidity, but there's also like this coolness because it's constantly raining there. Right? Whereas like we're here, it's just hot and humid. And if it rains, God help you, because it's just gonna be more humid because of the rain. So all the rest of us are like, oh, whoa, Florida's really nice compared to like Houston. But my friend is like, what the hell's wrong with you people? And he's just like drenched. And so the next day we go to a theme park. I think it was Animal Kingdom, and he's fair skinned, so he puts on sunscreen and stuff. And we're like, all right, let's go to Animal Kingdom, and like we get off the parking lot, we're in the tram, and he just starts sweating. And because he's immediately sweating, his skin's not absorbing the sunscreen lotion. So he just looks pale. He just looks bright white. And you just see like little drops of white coming down his stream. We're like, we're just like, oh dude, your sunscreen's not gonna help you. And it was just like the poor dude was just like that all the week. He had a great time, allegedly. And yeah. So he says, I don't know. He said he did have a great time, minus the whole like not being able to stop his body from sweating the whole time. And the rest of us, like legit, like it took a while for like the rest of my family to break a sweat, because by then we were kind of like, I wouldn't say used to it, because it's not like we're outside every day, just like hardcore winging it in the humidity. But like at a certain point, like your body just does kind of get somewhat accumulated to the weather and environment you're in.
Sure.
So for us, Florida was like, it's not that bad. Like we were like, this is pretty good weather. And then obviously my friend just, I hate you guys. How dare you? But how did we get here? Oh yeah, weather. Marching band. Right. Speak freely. Where are we talking about?
The weather.
Where are we talking about the weather?
Everything weather.
Oh man, dude, are we at that age now where it's just like, oh my God, Brian, the weather? Can you?
I think we might be.
Signs of age. Speaking of the weather, how about this? Let's talk real quick about. Did you get to watch that tornado of a live event? Yeah, we had another Schmoedown live event last Friday. It's the month of live events, and it just keeps coming, folks. This upcoming week, yeah, if you're watching this, we'll hopefully drop this Tuesday or Wednesday. So this Friday coming up, we have another live event from the movie trivia Schmoedown. I think it's the tag team championships are on the line. Founding Fathers versus
Corruption.
No, Corruption. You're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, winner of that I think faces Shazam. I might be wrong about that, but yeah, we had a live event this past Friday. It was dude. The undercard, let's just get that out of the way. Not because it wasn't good, but it's just the main event was the main event. You know what I mean? Good back and forth between the two teams. Final Exam and Shazam. I was, of course, not of course, but I'm sorry, guys, but I was rooting for Shazam because, I just love the kid so much, and then also
the kid he's like so wholesome.
Yeah, he's just a sweet dude, just a wholesome human being. And then Bibiani he's the beast for a reason. And then
I like how Bibiani calls him the kid every time.
The kid. That's true.
How are you doing, the kid?
even when it's like a genuine like out of character moment, like, oh man, Bibs, I'm really sorry. It's okay, the kid.
Yeah.
It was just, but yeah, it was a pretty good competition back and forth, but ultimately,
a little disappointed in Paul Oyama.
You think so?
I don't know. He seemed a little bit off his game.
I think
he didn't quite bring it the way he usually does.
I think maybe he might have gone into his own head a little bit, because if I remember correctly in the post interview, it was like he second guessed himself, and I think as a competitor, this is what I've noticed about the game. As a competitor, if you get to that mindset of like second guessing yourself, you kind of lose the game a little bit, and you kind of defeat yourself almost, right? Because he was saying like, I had the answer, but I second guessed myself because I thought it could have been something else. And it's like, it's almost always with any competitor, not just with Paul Yama, but almost any competitor, just like you got to follow that gut instinct. It's like if the first answer that pops into your head is usually the right answer, especially if you know behind that is like all the hours of study and stuff. I think it was just a game that Paul might have gone a little bit in his own way. And also too, it's like neither team really played their best. I would say Shazam was clearly a little frazzled because of the new online version of the game, whereas like they're not in together, right? Everything's online. The internet for everybody except for the actual host was like just crashing all over the place. So I'm sure that kind of messed with everybody else too. Overall, like, not to say it was a bad match, because I don't think it was, despite everything. I think everyone held their composure really well. And I think the match, we were still able to have it and have a fair conclusion to it, surprisingly. Like, there was no real challenges or like weird wording. Like, the questions were very straightforward. The answers were very straightforward. And I just think, like, either team didn't have their best match today, but it was just, in my opinion, Shazam just did a little bit better despite everything. Which honestly, when I was going into it, I was like, I want Shazam to win, just because I love the kid and Bibbs. But I was really like, the Final Exam has that momentum, and they've been doing this. Like they've.
I think the internet issues like messed with the flow of the game. That I think that might have also like kind of like stalled their momentum a little bit. But overall, it was pretty entertaining nonetheless.
Yeah, it was a good match. And Shazam wins, and I don't know where that puts them in the seeding. I think they're the number one contenders.
I think they have a match on the undercard next week.
Do they? They do. Don't they? Now I'm gonna double check. If you need to edit the quiet parts out, do it. But in the meantime, while I'm double checking this, because I can. Let's talk about that main event, bro. That main event. I knew.
Oh man.
I knew it was going to be good.
Just first state who was in the main event.
All right, so the main event was the singles championship match, and our singles champ at the moment before the event is Dan Murrell, and he was facing against the winner of last week's number one contender match. Not last week. Was it last week?
2 weeks ago.
Which was Ethan Erwin, who's also, besides being a really great movie producer, is also just an amazing competitor, just a beast of a competitor.
Yeah. Former champion himself. And it was just, man,
was a barn burner, dude. Like I knew both men were gonna bring it, but oh my god, like the anxiety, the back and forth, the tying, and then dude, this of course we got
overtime.
Yeah, it's Dan Murrell and big time Ethan Erwin. Like, of course we get sudden death, and it was just, and it was also too what I loved about this match too. It was a pretty fair competition, right? There was no real challenges.
Nope.
There was no neither of the men, thankfully, had internet hiccups, and it was a great. It lived up to the hype of championship material. And before I get to the ending and the spoiler of it, what did you think of the match?
So when I was watching the event, I was actually also cooking, right? We had a fairly big dinner on Saturday, so I was prepping everything on Friday night. And during the undercard, right, the teams match, yeah, I was paying attention, still watching, but I was able to do my prepping and my cooking. For the main event, all knives were down. Like I was just glued to the screen. Like I couldn't concentrate on anything else because it was just that entertaining. It was amazing to watch. That said, man, I think what makes it fun is to have like some sort of emotional attachment to a player, right? So you can start rooting for someone. And it's not to say you can't like have fun watching if you don't have that, but I think it adds a little bit more to it. Right? It's like in sports, like when you're emotionally attached to your team, it's just that much more fun. You get all the highs, all the lows. For this one, I didn't know like who to root for
because you kind of love them both.
You kind of like them both. Yeah, they're just both really good guys. So I'm watching it and like I'm glued to the screen and I'm loving it, the competition. But I feel like it was just missing that little bit of like, there's no one to hate and there's no one to like root for over the other.
I can see where you're coming from. The way I would see it, quite honestly, is like, because immediately what popped into my head when you were saying that they're both two good guys, right? And it's like you can't really, like, you cheer for both of them, you can't really boo one of them. Immediately what popped in my head to give it that wrestling comparison is Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, right? Whereas like at the time of that feud, technically speaking, they kind of sort of booked Shawn Michaels as like a quote unquote
heel,
but he really wasn't, right? Like people still loved him, and like his reasoning behind wanting to fight The Undertaker made sense. So you like, and it's Shawn Michaels, like you can't really boo Shawn Michaels. So it was like you had two heels kind of facing each other. Another kind of sort of comparison you can give it to is like Hulk Hogan versus The Rock, which again, technically speaking, in that program, Hollywood Hulk Hogan was quote unquote the heel or what have you, but really they were both faces, right? I think in this instance, like, yeah, you can't really say either man was booked as one thing or another, but I don't know. Me having the history behind it, obviously, like for me, it was just two titans of the game going at each other. It was like legend versus legend. It was like, I don't know, man. Like legit, it's like a WrestleMania worthy main event. It's for me, it's like Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, or Hulk Hogan versus The Rock, or what have you, right? Like two titans of the game going against each other. So it's like you for me, I had my favorite, my attachment to one particular one. It was Dan Murrell. I don't mind saying it. I love Dan Murrell. I loved him since the movie fights days on Screen Junkies, and I just love him as a critic and also as a competitor. So I already had that bit with it, but I also love Ethan Erwin because he's just a good player. He's like non-confrontational. He doesn't really have a persona per se. He's just kind of himself. But he seems like a really good, chill dude, and he's like a silent killer, man. He just has all this vast knowledge that you wouldn't think having it. And then also to the little doll thing, I think is a great gimmick. His little action figure.
Okay, so I'm glad you used that comparison, right? Because that's what's missing for me, right? It's that history. Because Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, yeah, they're both like you want to root for both, but my history leads me to lean towards The Undertaker, right? Hogan versus The Rock, I'm leaning towards The Rock because of my personal history with entertainment. And so, yeah, watching. I haven't been around watching this as long as you have. So when I'm watching it, yeah, I don't have any of that real history to root for. And I guess that's something I got to build moving forward.
Yeah, you're gonna build it. You just jumped in this season, and also it's the weirdest season to probably jump in,
Right?
COVID and stuff like that. But I think it's also oddly probably the best season too, because the season where it's very clearly Eric Nerd Chronic, who's like their official editor and promo guy. He's the one doing all the promos and the edits, and I think he does a fantastic job of painting the picture of like giving you the quick spark notes of like, here's the history. This is how many times they faced each other. This is why it's important. Right? Like that promo at the beginning before both of the matches, right? But especially before Dan Murrell versus Ethan Erwin was amazing. Like you get the history of it. You get how many times they fought, who's beaten who, and why this match matters to both men, to both competitors. Real quick, also I figured it out. It's Who's the Boss versus Shazam on next week undercard. Who's the Boss being the team of Ben the Boss Bateman and Mark Yodi Riley, who are also of the Finn Stock Exchange. And the main event is the Founding Fathers, who is John Roca and Dan Murrell, the tag champs, against Corruption, which I honestly think too, that match is going to be a barn burner, dude, especially the way Chance has been playing. Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be a good one. But that's in the future. That's on Friday. Let's talk about last Friday.
Right.
But yeah, I think eventually, like the more you watch, obviously, eventually you'll get attached to certain personas and certain characters or certain actual people, because not everybody has a character in the Schmoedown. And then eventually, like, that's kind of the cool thing about this season too, because you can clearly see the fans are divided because they clearly have their favorite faction, their favorite players that they follow. And then the legitimately the sport, right, where it's like they have stats now because of Frankie Janish, and he tells you like the actual statistics. So like during round 5, this is how many questions this player answered compared to this question, and blah 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 blah. So it's gonna get more fun, especially for you. I think just kind of like it's all new, and then eventually it'll be like wrestling. You know what I mean? Where you just follow it. So
with actual competition.
But actual competition, not predetermined competition. Not that we're not saying wrestling's fake.
No, the physicality of wrestling is 100% real. You have to be an athlete in order to participate.
Yes, it's just the matches are predetermined. That's it, right? Don't you dare say to a wrestler it's fake, because they'll probably break your jaw. I know that. I know.
Still real to me. Yeah.
I've actually been lucky enough to meet a few wrestlers, and they legit tell me like, I've gone into fights because people tell me it's fake, and I'm like, I get it. I don't think it's fake. I know it's predetermined. I don't think what you do in there is fake. Anything else stand out to you for this match at all?
Man, it was just fun, right? It's like they might have missed a few questions here and there, but they've kind of missed evenly, right? So it's the whole build up towards like the sudden death was the tension was there. That's what made it a lot of fun.
It was just because they neither guy had perfect rounds or a perfect game in general, and just the amount of knowledge, it felt so even going through all 5 rounds. Like even though one person would know a certain answer compared to the other one, like in terms of like their level of knowledge, it literally would go like this, right, during the match. And then it would stay here, because like round 1, I think going into round 2, if I remember correctly, I think Ethan had the lead. And then coming out of that, I think they tied it up. And then
between like getting steals and things like that, they ended up being tied.
They ended up being tied. So going into round 3, the betting round.
Oh, no. I think Ethan Erwin was still up going into round 3.
You sure? Because I remember distinctly in round 3, Dan Murrell bet more points.
He bet 3 points
than Ethan, and then that gave him the lead finally. Because going into round 2, he was trailing, and I'm pretty sure, again, semantics, but I'm like 98% sure, because I'm giving myself that 2% doubt, that going into round 3, they were tied. Coming out of it, they were
Dan Murrell was up.
Coming out of round 3, Dan Murrell was up. Going into round 4, the speed round, Ethan got all 10 questions. Dan only got 9. So then they were tied again going into round 5. And then they both still end up tied after that 5th round. And that's how we got sudden death after round 5. I remember that correctly in terms of like the points being served. But yeah, man, it was literally anybody's game. And it just so happened that Dan Murrell had the right amount of knowledge at the right amount of time because he got that song question at the end.
That one personal, like,
and it's purely because it's a personal thing because it's his and his girl's song, which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Whatever helps you draw that knowledge. It obviously, like, you remember things more if they have some sort of sentimental value attached to it, right?
Yeah, it's like Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah.
You remember that? It's Slumdog Millionaire. Do you remember Slumdog Millionaire where he gets all the questions right based purely on like his life journey?
Yeah. Exactly, dude. And you just never know. But yeah, man, it was a great match. Again, for anybody who's still like on the fence of the movie Trivia Schmoedown, if me gushing about it and Brian being like, it's my first year, but holy crap, this is amazing. If that's not enough, just give it a go. Just try it out. Check out the match that we mentioned. You don't really, it helps knowing history. Obviously, it's kind of like the MCU in that sense. If you know the history, obviously you'll enjoy Endgame that a little bit more. That being said, you don't have to know it to enjoy it. Like, there's still plenty of things you can grasp onto and enjoy. But moving on from the movie Trivia Schmoedown, but originally what I wanted to segue, because I was like heat and stuff, but now I don't have a segue. Wait, I do. The movie Trivia Schmoedown, right? What a great game. Speaking of games, nailed it.
Got it. Had to work for it, but you got it.
I had to stall a little bit, but I got that. Speaking of great competition and great games and movies, which are on video.
See where you're going with this.
We're going to talk about our favorite brews. All right.
Ooh, no, we're talking. An idea.
That is an idea, but we're talking about the video games. Just really quick, because I mean, for me personally, this week I've been playing a lot of it. Surprisingly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just been that week. It was kind of, speak freely, right? I'll speak freely. It was kind of a shit week for me emotionally, in terms of like my mental health, and also some stuff kind of happened. My dog had a seizure on Monday, which fucking freaked me. It freaked me out. I'm not even being facetious right now. It legit scared the shit out of me, and I was like legit in the moment, like, please don't die. I kind of need you right now. You're my only companion. Like, don't go. And took him to the vet. Vet says everything looks fine. It might have just been like a seizure caused on by stress. And I'm like, I get it, because like I'm stressed all the time. I'm probably not helping the poor old guy. And he's also, my dog now is like, holy crap, he's 13.
Oh, wow. He's like, up there.
He's 13, 14. So it's like, of course he's going to start showing like signs of his age now, because he's an old dude. That being said, he is a mutt, so he doesn't have like the purebred genes. So like literally up until this seizure episode, every time I take him to the vet, they're like, he's a perfectly healthy boy. He needs he needs his teeth to be clean. I'm like, yep. I keep telling him to brush his teeth, but so that kind of sucked. And then some things I don't want to get into because they're not really mine to share, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like personal family stuff, and then just me emotionally, just like COVID's been really messing with me. August has been a rough month financially as well. So it's just like worrying about, man, when the semester starts, am I going to have work? Like, how's it going to go down? Everything's online. Will we be online? Are the students going to come back, et cetera, et cetera? So I was like, you know what? I don't want to think about all this. I just kind of want to escape, which is like neither good nor bad, right? Because I need to deal with it eventually. But I'm like, I'll deal with it in my own way. I was like, I'm just gonna chill out. I'm gonna escape into a virtual world real quick and just kind of like, not so much run away, but just kind of calm myself to eventually rationally think things out. So I've been playing a lot of video games this week, man. I am.
Well, let's get into it. What have you been playing?
I've been playing this week. I've gotten back into playing. I love Tetris. I've always loved Tetris since I was a kid. And on the Nintendo Switch, they have Tetris 99, which is like competitive online Tetris. It's like essentially you versus 99 other people across the world, just face off in Tetris. Whoever's the best Tetris player wins. And I've been playing that a lot.
And are the matches predetermined in this one?
Yeah, it's wrestling for sure.
Okay.
That's why I never win. No, that's not true. I've gotten first place a few times.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been playing that a lot. I don't know, man. Something about Tetris and just making lines. As silly as that sounds,
so satisfying.
It's soothing, dude. It legit. Yeah. I'm not even like. I'll just be there and use if I don't know because I streamed it, not like on Twitch or anything. I was like in a Discord and I was like, I'm just gonna stream Tetris if you guys want to watch. And because they were like, what are you playing? I'm like Tetris. They're like, oh, stream it. We want to see. And then I started playing it, and then everyone got really quiet, and I'm like, is everybody there? And then eventually, I just heard one of my friends go like, God damn, dude, you are a ferocious Tetris player. Like, holy shit. And I'm just like, thank you. But I don't know, man. Just like the puzzle aspect of it, I really like trying to figure out a problem when one arises. You know what I mean? Right. And just trying to like, how can I maximize my block building to get the most lines to create Tetrises, which in the game creates like extra lines on your opponents to kind of eventually knock them out. So I love that game, Tetris 99. I literally spend out just like sitting here like a child, just like with my mouth open, just like for hours playing here in my room. I also recently got into Magic the Gathering again, but online.
Online.
Yeah, through it's called the Magic the Gathering Arena, right? And I'm pretty sure I have a couple of friends who are probably going to be like, that's not exactly what it's called. I don't care. It's online Magic the Gathering is essentially what it is. And you get it. It's a free game on the Epic Store if you're on PC or Mac. And I've just been kind of like reintroducing myself to the rules of the game and trying to like play it again. You know what I mean? Which has also been kind of fun too. A different type of puzzle problem solving kind of thing. I don't know if you're noticing a trend. I like puzzles and like weird problem solving type of games, right? I'm not necessarily a first person shooter, just like going in guns blazing. That being said, I also played Call of Duty World War II, which was also surprising. The campaign at the very least was really, really fun and exciting. So I beat the campaign this week as well. I'm telling you, man, I have a fucking long list. You're just gonna be like, I played
I played Candy Crush.
I played Angry Birds 2 for the 5th time in a row. No, I'm sure you have some games you've been playing too. But yeah, so Call of Duty, World War II, Tetris, Magic the Gathering, and then just like doing like these weird like going back to games I've already played. So like I played a little bit of Doom 3 again, played a little bit of Diablo 3, and Doom 3 I never beat just because it got a little repetitive and boring for me. And then Diablo 3, the main campaign I did beat, but I never did the whole Rifts thing. For any of you Diablo 3 players out there, I never did the Rifts. And then obviously like Fall Guys. I don't know if you heard of this game.
Isn't that a movie?
No. It's a new video game. It's a battle royale game. And it's like it's like a game show game. So it's battle royale. So it's like 60 other players are dumped into like this like, I guess like we can call it the arena, but it's like silly games. So it's like a race to like the end of the line, and there's obstacles in the way. So you gotta have to like maneuver and jump over obstacles with like 60 other people doing the same thing. Or it's like team-based game where it's like whichever team scores the most balls in the other court wins stuff. It's like, but it's really fun and competitive and it's silly and it's bright colors.
What I'm hearing is it's Mario Party meets Fortnite.
Essentially, without the shooting.
Without the shooting, but the Mario Party aspect of it is.
It's kind of like it's a little bit, yeah, but it's way more simple than that because all you can really do is like run one way and jump and maybe grab something. That's like about it in terms of like the gameplay. But if you have PlayStation, so it's free currently this month. So for any PlayStation any PlayStation owners, and specifically if you have PS Plus, which you should, it's the free game of this month. With what was the other game that was free this month? It was that game and Call of Duty 2 Remastered, I think was the free game this month as well. But legit, dude, you should definitely get Fall Guys. It's hilarious, it's fun, and yeah, and then finally, in terms of the games that I've been playing this week, I've been playing a lot of games, man. It's been stressful.
God, this is just this week.
This is just this week, brother. I ordered Final Fantasy VII remake because it was on sale, and I've literally been playing that the last 2 days. So, and that game too, man. The last Final Fantasy game I played was Final Fantasy 13, and I didn't like it. I stopped playing it, and I was 3/4 of the way done, but I was personally done with it. You know what I mean? I was like, that's it. I'm tired of it. I'm bored. I just don't feel like finishing it. And that was like the last Final Fantasy game I played. And then I just been hearing these great things about Final Fantasy VII Remake and like how great it is and how fun and what have you. So then I was like, okay, I'll give Final Fantasy another shot. And immediately, like that first hour of the game, I was like, I'm playing this to the end. I already know it. I'm gonna play this thing I love it so much already. It's that type of thing. The gameplay is fun, but also just like it's a magical game in the sense like just walking around and doing random side quests. Like you enjoy that too. You know what I mean? Because a lot of like it's not really open world per se. There's like it's more like a sandbox game, I would say, where it's like certain sections you can explore, but not the whole world is free. You know what I'm saying? And like there's certain open world games where you just don't care to do the side quests because they're boring and lame. And you're just like, I just want to do the main event, right? The main storyline. And then there's some games that are just so good and they're so great to look at, and it just feels good playing. You're like, I'm gonna do everything I can. And so far, legit, I've spent already 12 hours, but I've been doing every side mission I can possibly do.
Like, you want 5% done?
Yeah, I was like, you want me to go kill some rats? I'll go kill some rats for you. Well, there's more rats over here. Great, let's go get them rats, boys. Hey, but the mission, I got some rats to kill. The mission can wait. So it's been fun.
I gotta help this guy first. Hold on.
Now, this guy said there's a couple of drakes I gotta go kill, which are like winged creatures. They're basically giant bats. I'm gonna go do that. The bar can wait. I'm gonna go do this. Dude, I could throw darts. What's the record? I'm gonna play darts for the next hour trying to beat the record. I never beat the record. I tried so hard. It's one of those games where like everything about it is so detailed and it's so precise and so well made that you can't help but kind of get lost on these side things. It's the same feeling I had with Red Dead Redemption 2, where I literally once they introduced card playing like Texas Hold'em and Blackjack, I literally wasted hours just trying to take out the AI characters. Read them and weep, boys. So, but yeah, man, those are the games I've been playing this week. Yeah, and I just went on a really long rant. So now I'm gonna let you rant, and I'm gonna mute my mic. Brian, what have you been playing this week?
So I've been playing Animal Crossing, and that's about it. No, I mean, yeah, I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing. But I'm at the point where I'm kind of just doing the daily check-in. You gotta tend to the flowers, do your the Nook, get your your points from the little, what is it, an ATM machine thing? Yeah, essentially. And
the ATM, I always forget what it's called too, but machine,
yeah, and stuff like that, little daily stuff. And then I also got Sid Meier's Civilization 6, which I just love playing Sid Meier's. I've been playing since I think the 3rd rendition of it on PC. So I got it for the Switch, which the mechanics are completely different, right? So I spent, I think, maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours just kind of learning how to play again. But it's been fun. I love the whole one is it's a simulation game, which I love to do. And then also it's actual competition. You got to go be the best civilization there is, which America's winning at. So
America.
Murrell.
So what can you explain to me a little bit more what Civilization is? Is it like Sims or
Yeah.
something?
No, well, it is Sims. So it's you pick your culture, right? They have different ones. They have Japan. There's I don't know. There's English. There's the Americans. There's like African tribe. There's a lot of different tribes you can pick, and then you essentially start with just a single village, and you want to build out your civilization to make it grow. And then there's different strategies you can do to win. You can go for the cultural win, where you're basically like the predominant culture in all the land. You can go for like a scientific win. You can go for a war win, where you basically build out your army and you just conquer everybody. Kind of like Risk in a sense, right? But yeah, depending on like what kind of tribe you start with, you have different strengths, different weaknesses. So you might want to like change your strategy. So I usually pick Japan because I'm a little biased. But their strengths lead towards.
I don't get it. Why Japan?
What do you mean?
Because you're Peruvian.
Yeah, but Peruvians love Japan. I don't know what you're talking about.
Do they? I didn't know about that about Peruvians.
Yeah. But yeah, so like their strength leads towards like a cultural win. That's what I usually go for.
Nice.
Yeah.
And for our listeners for the audio listeners, Brian is Peruvian. Like that's not a lie. Even for the people looking at him right now, he is. I don't know if we've confirmed that on the show, but he is.
Well, I mean, technically, culturally, sure. Yeah.
But I mean, like, if I remember, you said your parents are from Peru, right?
They're born and raised in Peru.
Yeah.
But according to 23andMe, I am 99.5% Japanese.
Nah, you're Peruvian, bro.
Yeah, and then 0.5% other.
You know, I know you're Peruvian, man. You came to my house. Not only did you make us some bomb ceviche, you also made lomo saltado, and we were like, this boy's Peruvian. You proved it. You proved it with the lomo saltado, man. I gotta make that again, too, man. It's been a minute. I forgot the recipe. You gotta send it back to me.
Yeah, okay. I'll go ahead and do that.
That's neither here nor there. Speaking of food, no, we're sticking to video games. So is that so? Animal Crossing, but I feel like Animal Crossing is like a couple of hours tops if you're doing it the way the game's intended. We just kind of check in, and you do stuff.
An hour at most.
Mm-hmm. And then Civilization, like I would imagine that's also.
I can do a couple hours on that, yeah. Because it's depending on your strategy. Like the game can go for days, right? Sometimes when I play on PC, I have to save the game, come back to it again the next day. Yeah.
Is that I had a burp. I apologize. Is that all you've been playing this week? Mostly just Animal Crossing and Civilization?
No, I've also been playing MLB The Show on PlayStation.
Oh, 20? The new
20.
one?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. My soon-to-be brother-in-law has been playing that. Are you doing the career mode, or are you just doing like a seasonal thing?
The other career. So I've actually had the same player since 2015.
Oh, nice.
And then you can transfer it from year to year and just continue on that same career.
Oh, cool. So it's just the same character you created like since 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you playing for right now?
Miami.
Of course, you're unironically playing the best team currently.
Right.
Did your guy catch up?
No, we're actually doing much better. We have a lot more stricter rules in place, just so we don't get COVID. Yep.
Or get other people COVID.
Right. Yes, but I've had the itch to play like competitively, like online. And then obviously my team is the Angels, who they're not like the best team, so it makes it a little bit difficult to win sometimes. Which I think is fun because it's a challenge.
Yeah.
And you get those people who always pick like the Yankees or the Dodgers. It's like, well, you're not even that good. You're just playing with the best team. Like it's
yeah.
Which
is like, yeah, but this reminds me of a conversation I was having again with my soon-to-be brother-in-law. We were just kind of like shitting on like the Yankees and the Dodgers, and they're like, because we were talking about like the Astros allegations, obviously, but then I brought up like, I was like, but dude, like everyone knows the Yankees cheats. The Yankees currently have a lawsuit against MLB because MLB has evidence that the Yankees cheat, and they don't want that evidence to be public record, so they're fighting it to not make it public record. Like,
right.
we know they cheat, and they're hiding it so people don't officially know it. And I'm just like, but everyone forgives the Yankees, everyone forgives everybody else. But and then that turned into a conversation because we were also watching the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and Manchester City got out. Which, if anyone who knows about Manchester City, they were initially banned from the tournament because they lied about their financial budget. So it's like every sports has like, it's like MLB, right? There's like a certain like money cap, right? And Manchester City lied about it, and then they were banned. And then COVID happened, and then the Champions League were like, all right, you're not banned, you're in. And so everyone was salty about that, right? It's like, well, great, there's no real consequence. But luckily they lost handily, and I'm happy about that. So. And then I think someone asked me like, why are you happy that Manchester? I'm like, Manchester City is like the Yankees or like the Dodgers. Like everyone around the world knows Manchester in terms of like clubs of football. So it's like, and they clearly got caught cheating, right? I mean, you can say what you want about money caps, but breaking a rule. So it was like, yeah, I'm glad they're gone. Good.
Yeah, fuck out here.
Yeah, just like the Yankees and Dodgers.
Yeah, fuck the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I don't care if they swept the Angels this weekend. Fuck them anyway.
Did they? I'm sorry.
They did, yeah. It's ridiculous. Like that team is stacked. Like I don't know how anyone could compete with the Dodgers.
You would think that, right? But when's the last championship? When's the last World Series they won? It's been 17 years, you said? Yeah.
1988.
No, it's been 22 years.
32 years.
32 years? Has it been really?
Yeah. How old are we? Yeah. Since 88.
They've literally not won since we've been born, essentially.
Yeah.
That guys, money doesn't buy you championships. So stop spending it so much and cheat like the Astros. And, so MLB, Civilization, and MLB The Show, and Animal Crossing. That's been your primary things this week?
Yes, and I also signed up for this app called Habitica. So it's like it's a habit tracker. But it's designed to be sort of a game. So you have your character profile, and it's like Dungeons and Dragons themed. So like right now I'm a warrior, a level 2 warrior. Basically, and you go on these quests to defeat certain animals or monsters, and the way you get points is by like completing your to-do lists or your positive habits. So it's a way to like help you keep track of like what you're supposed to do during the week, but also promote good habits. Which it's been interesting. It's been a little bit fun.
I should get on that. There's a couple of habits then you get back into like practicing.
Yeah.
I haven't practiced in a long time.
Like one of my habits is drink water, and then so it's drink water with a plus sign next to it, and it says / drink soda with a minus next to it. So when I drink water, I can push plus. And if I happen to get like a little thirst going, and I get a soda, so that's minus points.
Oh, I should do that too, but instead of soda, I should make it beer.
Yeah.
I don't drink soda, but I drink beer. I love beer. But beer's for the weekends. I'm fine.
Yeah, weekends are okay.
Weekends don't count. Calories on weekends don't count, right?
Right. It's in the Bible, right? I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all the religions have in some way.
The Quran also, yeah.
Yeah,
Lotus Sutra has it.
Buddha himself said, "Weekends, calories, no count." The Dalai Lama probably officially announced it. Oh man, we're getting this. All right. The Pope himself decreed on Sundays, especially, calories don't count.
which actually is not too far fetched considering who the Pope is. Yes.
But yeah.
But as far as video games, that's about it. Most recently, at least.
It's kind of. I mean, like again, it's very different for you and me, right? Like obviously, like you're still working, thankfully, because your job is considered essential, right? You work at a restaurant. And I'm not really not working as a full-time musician. Like I get a couple of commissions here and there, thankfully, but it's like very sporadic. And so I'm not really like working a schedule like I was pre-COVID. So it's like, of course I got all these times to play like all these tens of video games, and of course you're only playing 3, right? Because you're thankfully keeping busy. So but it is weird how like, well, it's not weird, but it's kind of nice living in the era we live. Like we all like, obviously life can always be better. There's certain aspects of life that we could always try to, as a society and also individually, there's always something that we're like, yeah, this could be better, or this aspect can be better. But like it's also pretty neat to live in a world where we could just kind of like sit on our couch and just like escape a world, right? This literally this imaginary virtual world that didn't exist before now exists literally in the palm of our hands, and we just kind of like for a few hours go escape, whether that be literally building your own island, killing some alien rats, literally constructing a new civilization because this one probably sucks, or just making lines, literally just making lines, just clearing lines. It's kind of neat, man. It's kind of a thing I'm grateful for, honestly, this week is like.
Do you mind if I take that line, just you saying clearing lines, with just like
clearing lines and all that.
Oh, what a world we live in!
So great, so great. Oh God, I'm so itchy.
Yes, but you're right. It's before those were called books.
I mean, we still have them.
Yeah, I mean, sort of.
It's more like because
it's different, right? I think it's a little more immersive because it's actually visual. You can actually jump right in.
It's not just
with the VR technology. You can literally jump right into a world.
But it's not just visual too, right? It's literally all the senses, right? Because like for me, like when I play video games, for the most part, I have headsets on, right? So I can clearly hear everything. And then obviously, like we all got HD TV. Some of us have like 4K TV, so it's like it's bright, it's big, everything looks very nice. You got sounds, and also you're kind of for the most part kind of feeling the world too, right? Depending on your controller, like you're moving around with your fingers, the controller vibrates. You're kind of also utilizing that sense. The only thing you can't do is smell and taste it, but like other than that, it's like 3 out of 5 senses, man. It's pretty immersive.
It's pretty good.
Like with a book, it's like you're reading the words, but you're not really seeing what's happening. It's you have to make it up in your mind. That being said, I haven't read a book, like a legit read a book in a long time.
Since like high school?
No, not that long ago. No. I think the last book I read. What was the last book I read? I'm looking at my bookshelf. Was it that? I think it might have been that one. It was the Dark Days book by Randall Blythe, who is the lead singer of Lamb of God. It essentially it's an autobiography that's kind of like, it's really cool because it talks about his whole life in a sense, but it's all revolving around this one incident where he actually went to prison in Prague for manslaughter. So Lamb of God I'm pretty sure it's Prague. Lamb of God had a show in Prague. There was no security, there's no barriers. So it's just like the stage and the fans. And during one of the songs, a fan came up, and Randy, just as per usual, just kind of like pushed the fan back into the crowd. But then, like, I think it was like 3 or 4 days later, that fan died. And so the next time they came back around to do a tour cycle, he didn't know it, but there was a warrant out for him. So obviously he checks in with the band and straight to jail. And it's a very, very unique, interesting book. And I read that book and I have it. And I'm going to try to get it. I hope one day to get it signed by him. I really love that autobiography. That's the last like physical book I read. And I think that was like 4 years ago. The last book I heard, because allegedly audiobooks count, right?
Yeah.
The last book I heard was Kevin Hart's autobiography on Audible, which is actually really good. I liked it.
Does he read it himself?
Yeah, he
I
does.
imagine he has to. Yeah.
He reads it himself, and it's very delightful. So I liked it. And then around the same time too, I was listening to AJ's.
AJ Styles?
AJ Mendez.
Oh.
Yeah, I was listening to her autobiography. Super Crazy is My Superpower. That one's really good.
Yeah,
I love that a lot.
I
didn't read it. It was read to me, but
yeah. Does she read it herself too?
Yeah, she reads it herself.
Yeah.
It was really good, man. I'd recommend legit that one for you because wrestling. We're all wrestlers. Wow, we went to
I almost picked that up one time. I was at a Barnes and Noble looking for Ali Wong's autobiography.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, it was a gift from my sister because she's a huge fan. I haven't read it myself yet. I want to though, eventually. But as I was looking for it, I stumbled upon AJ Mendez's book, and I almost bought it.
You should have. It's such a great read. Do you not listen to audiobooks?
I do.
You have a commute, so you have that time.
I do. I recently listened to again for the second time Neil Gaiman's Trigger Warning.
Ooh.
It's a collection of short stories and stuff. So,
well, man, I recommend getting AJ's book because she reads it. Obviously, she reads it from her perspective. There's something about listening to the author themselves read their own words, which is actually very, very. It's very delightful. That's I used that word twice, but it's very this is something I didn't know I wanted in my life.
Yeah. And, there's one I really like by shoot, what is her name? I can't. It's escaping me right now. But she does Geek and Sundry. She's the founder of the YouTube channel.
Is it Maud Garrett?
No. Felicia Day.
Oh, Felicia Day.
Yeah, her autobiography is really good. It's called "The Internet Is No." What is it? You're Only Weird on the Internet, I think.
Okay.
But it's her story basically of how, she's kind of failing at her goals, and then she joins this woman support group, and that in of itself helps her kind of become more focused and kind of build better habits because it keeps her accountable. And then from that, she got to build her web series. And then from the web series, this whole YouTube channel that is essentially like an empire, right? So really good. And she reads it herself too. So I'd recommend that one too. If you want to, as a creative, right, listening to someone's story like that, it's really inspiring.
Ooh, I'll probably check it out. There's a lot of things I have to read, man. There's a stack of comic books I haven't gotten to yet either that I need to read.
Oh, me too.
I still have my box. I'm I smell them and I'm sweet. And then I'm all right, time to read them. But then I'm I hear the PS4 humming and I'm just I'd rather do this real quick. And then real quick turns into 10 hours and it's 4 a.m. in the morning. I'm I should go to sleep. And then I do the same thing tomorrow. So that's an episode, I think. How do you feel?
Yeah. About today's episode or future episode?
About the endeavors that is speak freely in general. This is the epitome of speak freely. We were all over the place.
There's no structure at all today.
We talked about the weather, which led into marching band, which went into the demographic of our high schools. And then somehow we got to Schmoedown from there. I don't know how. And then from Schmoedown we got to video games, and from video games we got to books. And now we're here. So what is your favorite? What is your favorite type of beer? Is it an IPA? Is it an amber ale? Find out next week on Speak Freely.
All right.
I hope the listeners enjoyed it. I honestly, because we did one of these episodes and it was a little bit more heavy, the May whatever, which it was literally whatever, right? But I like these episodes. Just kind of like, let's just talk, man.
Yeah.
We don't have to necessarily have a topic. I mean, it helps having a topic, obviously, because if we're just here, we're just twiddling our thumbs like in the bit at the beginning of this episode. Yes, it was a bit. But yeah, that's an episode. I'm good with it.
I'm happy.
I'm happy too, man. Thank you for being here, dear listener.
Thank you. Oh, listener. Yeah.
We got also you, first, man. But also, I'll be right here. I can't make my finger go. Brian, where can the people find you on the webs?
On Twitter and Instagram at Kuno_stars.
Sweet. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DavidBMusic21. And you can also find this podcast on Instagram and Twitter at Speak Freely Pod, also on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. Make sure you click that thumbs up button, hit that subscription, hit that notification bell. I don't know if we have a notification bell, but if we do, please hit it whenever we drop an episode so you're aware and you can listen to it, because we love it when you guys chime in and tell us what you love and or hate about the episode, as long as you're interacting. And also, we are on podcast feeds. That's right. We have a Anchor account, and they are helping us put all the shows on all the podcast feeds. So we're officially on Spotify and most anywhere you get your podcasts as Speak Freely as well. And there's a hyperlink that you can follow, which is also on our social media accounts, both on Twitter and Instagram. Did I miss anything?
I think you got it. Covered everything.
I'm getting good at this. I better be. This is like, or what, our 8th episode officially? 9th? 8th? A 9th?
8th? I think 8th.
8th, right? Man, yeah. You know we're talking about our 9th episode, right? Dude, people have been asking for. We have to, right? That little. We have to center ourselves amidst the whiteness around us, right? You know what I'm talking about? We gotta crack that shell and just get to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Eventually.
Someday.
Maybe next week. We'll see. That depends on how we feel. Maybe we won't.
It's eggs, by the way. If you didn't get it, it's eggs.
Yeah, if you got scrambled for brains and you didn't get the center and the crack the shell references, it is eggs. Or is it? Tune in next week to find out. I don't know. And with that said, I have been David B. That right there is my good friend Kuno Stars. That is an episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you and goodbye. 1, 2, 3. Almost.